that. And then after that, for like 10 years, I didn't do any of that. I would just be sketching in sketchbooks.
Right, yeah.
And then when I realised I could do the drawings on my phone, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can get back into this. Because it's like with the singing and doing bands and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go out of it and then you come back and then you go out of it and then you come back. And so that was me coming back to it. And then I just realised, oh, this could be a thing. I'm really enjoying it. Most people don't do something that they enjoy.
Yeah.
So at least I've got an outlet for my creativity in that way. Yeah. So I just started drawing my friends and stuff, and was watching, obviously listening to the podcast anyways.
Yeah.
And then was like, oh,
I'll try them.
I'll just do this.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Because you can just listen. Whilst I'm listening,
what you're listening, it puts images in your head, doesn't it? Sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see a joke or a bit or a story in a certain way.
You can bring that to life in a picture,
I can translate in the picture. Now there are other people that do that. There's people that do that for the actual podcast.
But your interpretation of it could something different.
Mine is always different. I'm a little bit weird when it comes to my drawings. The ones that I put online are not as weird as the ones that I have to go, I can't put that out.
When you get really famous, those ones will be behind your paywall.
On my
people pay for the weird
Snapchat.
shit.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people put stuff up that's like with nudity in, and I'm too scared to put mine that have actual nudity in, because Instagram is so ruthless at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit risky, that, though. It'd have to be censored, which would maybe not make it how you meant it to be.
No, you want it raw. If it's something like that,
you can censor it and make it funny. Like the censor is what makes it funny.
I've done that with some. I did one. You know when Adam Levine did some awards thing and he had his top off.
No.
Okay, so Adam Levine from Maroon 5 was he was doing a concert at some award show. Oh, maybe it was a Super Bowl actually.
Right.
And it was.
If you're going to take your top off, the Super Bowl halftime is the place to fucking do it.
He took his top off, ripped, absolutely ripped, all the tattoos.
I'd probably take my top off if I was.
I mean, he's got enough money to.
Yeah, true. He needed a bit more fame.
So and there was actually quite a few complaints. So it was a big controversy at the time, and I saw that and thought, I need to do a drawing.
Yeah.
So I did a reverse. So I put a t-shirt on him, and then I took his bottoms off. So
there was dangly bits hanging out.
Yeah. So then I had a not safe for work version, and then was not safe for Insta version, and then the one I actually put up, which I did a little blurry thing around the area. You can definitely tell it's got a piece, but you can't quite see the eye of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after that, I thought it was quite a good, funny concept. And it was around Sober October, where Joe and Bert and
do the
Tom
challenge.
and Ari do the challenge. So I changed it. I made it into Bert Kriescher, because normally he takes his top off to do his comedy.
He takes his top off at everything.
So I reversed him as well.
Right.
And had him with his bits out, but with the same tattoos in the same style. So it like mashed the Maroon 5 side of the meme and then Bert Kreischer's the meme as well. I think that's one of the things that solidifies the art community on Instagram is events like that. Sober October was perfect.
Yeah, because there was so much going on to it.
Everyone was just doing content constantly.
That's what I was going to say.
Every day.
That whole podcast that they just did about the whole...
Yeah.
I was like 3.5 hours of my life, and they still haven't decided what they're fucking going to do.
They did that last time.
What a waste of time.
I mean, I really want them to do the hip-hop dance stuff.
I don't think that's going to happen. Joe Rogan does not seem up for that.
Why does he get to be the arbiter of their challenge? I
know. But it should be something that they all have to... Unless all 5 of them or 4 of them agree, then
yeah, true.
It's not going to happen. I don't think
maybe Ari could convince him.
I don't know why.
Guilt him.
I don't know why Bert's the leader on it, because he's probably the least. He's probably going to lose.
It's almost as if he sets himself.
Yeah,
up to lose.
I think that.
But it's funny, which is what the comedian. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
And obviously, the nature of doing something like that is actually quite pure and good.
Yeah, it's always like, I think they should always give up alcohol and probably drugs, smoking weed for
Every
a month,
time,
plus a challenge on top of it.
Now, the social media side of it, would that affect you if you had to do it?
Oh,
So Ari's suggestion was
cut out social media.
like your phone.
Yeah.
Like no phone, just a basic phone.
If my show or
Could
what
you
I
do
was
it?
doing was at that level, you'd still have to have someone maybe do the
You'd have an
do the
assistant,
stuff
yeah.
for the show because if you're still putting content out in that whole month, you can't take a month off your work.
Ari did.
Yeah, well, that's Harry. He just went off. He
he's
just went
weird,
off
yeah.
travelling for like
Yeah,
4
he
months.
just goes and does whatever he wants.
Didn't even tell anyone where he was
I mean,
going.
it's a good. It's like I'm jealous of that
Oh,
behaviour of being
yeah,
able
yeah.
to just go. I'm going to sell all my stuff in my flat. Anyone wants it? Come round now.
Even
That's
now,
literally what he did.
even
and then just
now,
go.
he doesn't have much. Like
He doesn't need it, does he?
He's one of those people who doesn't. He doesn't value stuff. Like it's just stuff at the end of the day.
I could have
He's
that
got money.
mindset.
He's a very successful stand-up comedian. He makes loads of money, very well paid, at the top of his game, but he doesn't have stuff.
I think you find that with quite a lot of people that are really, really into the craft.
You get both. You get people who
Yeah,
just
you-
like
that you'll
they
get
just
the
buy.
flasher
They got
side.
money, so they just buy loads of stuff.
That's probably Bert.
But
likes
yeah,
to
yeah.
Be a bit flash for a laugh.
But other people, well, Harry's a bit different though. He's not your typical person.
No, he's certainly different.
Eccentric.
But I think that's what makes his comedy good.
I always remember once he told a story on the Joe Rogan podcast about how after 9/11, when they became really strict with all airport security, he took offence to the fact that they were doing the job basically. Like, no, I'm not going to put my keys in a tray, or I'm not going to take my pants off or my shoes off. They're just doing their job.
Don't accuse me.
And I was like, well, what do you want? Do you want a safe country, or do you want to take your pants off?
I'm trying to think. I'd probably want to take my pants off.
Yeah, it's like they're just doing their job. You can't complain about stuff like that and then not follow the rules. But you see,
he wants
that's
to be able
him.
to just wander the earth, though.
Yeah,
Like,
free.
No passports, none of that. He just wants to wake up. You're like, oh, what am I going to do today? I'll go in the. No, I won't shower. Actually, give me a leaf.
Yeah, and I won't wear any shoes. I won't wear shoes today.
Wipe leaf. Just wipe himself with a leaf. Be fully naked, and then just walk to the I'm just going to walk to the watering hole this morning. I may see a female, and I'll just jump on her because that's what we do in the wild. I think that's what he.
Yeah, he
that's
would.
what he would do. But started putting them on Instagram, tagging the people
Yeah,
that were in the podcasts and stuff that they did.
yeah.
They were getting shared. So I just thought I'll just keep doing this because I draw what I consume. So if I listen to a podcast, I'll draw
I
something
see.
from that.
That's a good idea.
episode, and then it means that I'm not hemmed into this is what I do. I can do
Keeps
whatever
it quite
I want. 'cause-
open.
Yeah, so if I listen to Ricky Gervais' podcast, I'll do it about that, and then just put it up, and then hope it gets shared or whatever. And then I was getting quite a lot of shares from one specific podcast, which got me enough followers because there's like a community that like all the same podcasts. So you've got the Joe Rogan podcast,
Yeah,
The Fighter and the Kid, Joey Diaz's podcast,
of course.
and then extras on top of that. There's Your Mum's House. There's
Yeah.
all sorts, but they're all really similar, and they all know each other. And it's the same with the fans. So I just started getting crossover shares, and then it became a thing of I can do all these and enjoy doing something,
Yeah.
and I was getting stuff back from it. Like I was getting to talk to the comedians and getting them to share my stuff, and then eventually send them some of my stuff, and that's basically where I'm at now. What I want to do is I've got more plans to make it more of a thing.
Yeah, well, there's some people who that's all they do. Like I don't know who Joe Rogan uses, but a lot of even his stand-up gigs, every show has a poster that's done, like with the date and the venue on it by someone.
The collective that I'm in, which is called the Comedy Content Collective, which is on Instagram, there's about 20 of us, I think. There's a couple in there that have done ones for Joe.
Yeah.
For comedy posters and
Because
stuff.
a lot of his are like an old movie poster that they've like put his face on, like E.T. or something.
The main person that does that is a guy on Instagram called One by One Podcast, which is
I did come across that when I was doing my research.
He does quite a lot for Joe as well, but I think mostly, which is good for artists, the comedians will go, they won't stick with one
Yeah.
specifically. They'll go, oh,
Well, that's
I
better
fancy, fancy this style.
it might get a bit. You might get a bit boring or samey
Yeah.
if it's just all by one person.
What I found is the more popular the podcast, the less uniform it needs to be. So if you're starting out with a podcast, you want them to be quite uniform so people recognise that's that podcast.
But once it gets to a certain level,
You don't need to worry about that at all.
Game,
so then you can just go mad with the designs and stuff like that. So
you just keep doing stuff and throwing it out there anyway.
yeah.
Some of it gets picked up, and
so I'm just every day I'm just posting. Every time I get to be on my phone, I'm just doing little doodles and stuff of ideas. If I'm ever out and about and I think of an idea, it gets written down, and then when I'm free to do it, just little doodles. It's so weird that it's something that you don't really need to. If you're that way minded, you don't need to really put that much effort into it.
yeah, because it just comes to you.
But the fun of it, that takes over. So you end up.
Some of them are hilarious, perhaps.
Some of them are very confusing to people. I've had a lot of people be like, I don't know what that.
Yeah, but if unless they listen to the podcast, then it makes perfect sense.
So
and
then
it's fucking hilarious.
I hook the audience in that watch the podcast, but then maybe.
Yeah, you could become like, if people see some of your stuff, they go, well, I'll check this podcast out because he's done.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
That's great. It's good for podcasting.
Well, yeah, 100%. There's one in Australia called the Refuge Chamber podcast that I think he was one of the first ones I did drawings for. It was like last year, and I don't know what you do for your podcast stuff. Do you ever advertise on other podcasts?
No. It's not. I mean, I would if the opportunity ever came up, but so far I've not really felt the need to.
He basically wants to like further his podcast, but help other podcasters.
Right.
So most of the stuff that he does, and I get tagged in it all the time now, is like it's very like positive energy and stuff like that, moving stuff forward. So I took that was my one of my first experiences with podcasters in a that kind of environment, and I took that and thought, all right, I want to do that, but with my art. So then was speaking to other artists that were doing the same thing that I was doing, but just less. I'm a bit prolific.
I'll put your fire out quite a lot.
I'll do quite a lot.
Is that because the phone makes it easier to do it?
Yeah. I mean, I could think of one, just do it, and then I mean, it obviously does depend on what I'm drawing and how complicated.
Say average like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
For the like to get it to a level where you could show it to someone.
It's like layers. So if it's something for promotion, sometimes you don't need a background. It can be very simple. Whereas if it's something like a scene, I really want to get the funniness of the joke, or I'll need to like do a full background and then do the foreground and then do the shading and then
all on the phone.
All on the phone.
That's fucking crazy.
It's annoying. It can get annoying, especially when I first started. I didn't have the most decent. I didn't have top of the range phone.
What is it you use?
Now it's an S10 Plus.
Right.
Which is
you need to update your bio then. It says S8. It says S8.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Right, okay, I'll have to change that. I haven't seen that. I've only just got that 2 weeks ago, though.
Right. So is that even better then?
It is, but the problem with getting something new is that sometimes the apps aren't updated for the hardware. So I'm actually emailing.
Is it a different version of Android that's running? Or is it just the software?
Not that. It's specifically the phone that they don't support at the moment.
It's too new.
I was like, oh, I'll get this. It's a bigger screen, it's a bigger memory.
Does it just not work, or does some parts of it not work?
It's hard to explain. So if I draw a line, it's just a black line, and that's it. And then take the stylus off. There's your black line, white background. Now, with the S10, as I start drawing, small grey squares appear around the black line, as if it's highlighted. But it actually covers some of what you're drawing, so it's hard to know where your lines meet in another line and stuff like that. But I just put up with it now. I've got used to it.
So it doesn't affect the actual drawing in the end, it just makes it a bit more difficult?
No, it just makes it takes me longer to do, that's all. But I'm happy to do that because I enjoy doing it. So
have you had to email the people who make the software?
Well, Adobe, yeah. So I'm speaking with someone over there, trying to find out when they will support it. It doesn't matter if they do or don't really.
Because the S10 only
I've
came
adapted.
out like back end of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that and the Plus, yeah.
Is it the Plus you've got?
I've got the Plus, which is obviously a bit bigger for more
What you
screen
need.
real estate.
Yeah. Eventually, it'll just be like, I've got my phone as a tablet.
Well, I've got a Microsoft Surface Go.
Ah, right.
Which is like probably the size of
They're
a
pretty
small
big.
TV.
Yeah.
And obviously the bigger ones are like table size. That's what I want to aim for.
So have you tried? Have you used the Surface?
Yeah,
for
I
it?
use Illustrator on that, and I use it for some things, but it's a lot more complicated. So on the phone, you don't really have to plan the drawing as much. You can it's easy enough to just undo a whole shape if it's not working from that perspective and just redraw it. Whereas in Illustrator, because of all the different things that you can do, there's so much more you can do. You've got to plan everything more, or else you might get a few steps ahead and not be able to undo enough and I'm not as comfortable using Illustrator as I am on my phone because I didn't.
But you've got to use whatever works best for you, haven't you?
Exactly. I know people that use Illustrator all the time. They have the tablets that you draw that are like, it's like a pen and a tablet, but you don't see it. It goes on the screen.
On the screen.
In 2Q or something.
Yeah. Isn't there a little bit? I remember seeing there's a bit of a delay sometimes with that though, a bit of latency.
It depends which one you get. But you get used to it.
I suppose you just get used to it, yeah.
But that's what I kind of want to go into. It's just, I think you kind of have to build from somewhere. I don't want to just get a load of stuff, start, and then find out that it's a bit too difficult.
But in a way, the fact that you do it on your phone makes you unique.
Yeah, well, yeah. There is other people that are doing it.
I'm sure there is, but you know what I mean? Rather than just,
not as much as me.
Yeah, but just most people would do stuff like that on a PC in full software suite.
Or Paint.
Paint Shop Pro or...
yeah, I've heard of that one.
What are the other ones? Photoshop. I'm using Photoshop.
Yeah,
you know
Photoshop,
Photoshop Steve.
Right, yeah.
Do you know him?
Yes. Well, I've spoke to... This is the thing. All the people that... When I used to listen to Joe Rogan, you hear about these characters, don't you? And then if you're looking on Instagram and the comedians are sharing the stuff, and you get to know these characters. And now I have actually spoke to some of them, and it's like, so weird going from doing nothing to then suddenly...
Being regular contact with these people.
Knowing folk that are actually behind the scenes. We do.
So you could do like famous moments in films, or
I
brought
a
comedian.
Some today. I brought some today for you.
Have you?
Yeah. So I've got about 50
right
prints of
prints
of films. Yeah.
Cool. Great.
I've got them in my bag for you.
Wow, he's come prepared. I wondered what was in the bag. Last time someone brought a bag, Last time someone brought a bag, it was full of alcohol.
Yeah.
And a Christmas tree, a little Christmas tree. That was a gift, which lasted 9 months. Then it died.
I had too much alcohol this weekend, so I thought I'll bring art instead.
I like art.
So I did a film series. So basically, every other photo, I did a film. And I did it in a certain way where there's like text in the background and then...
Like a scene from a film or like the poster for the film or something.
I tried to do individual things depending on what film it was.
Ah, right.
So I'll pass them over to you for the audio listeners. I did that really smoothly.
Yep, that is cool.
So basically...
So it depends whether you've seen the film. That's what I've seen in Step Brothers. I watched that not so long ago.
I'd basically find... It got to the point where I'd find films. So I would like...
Put him on the main screen?
I would Google... I would Google like best films or... I did start off with horror ones, so there is a lot in there where it'll be maybe a bit brutal. There we go. Indiana, for you
Indiana Jones
fans out there. And
for the audio listeners, you're going to have to go on YouTube. If you've resisted, now is the time. Bloody hell, that's good.
And then I printed them all out. And basically, if you put them all together, they become one whole piece.
Oh, I did see that. Did you put a picture of that online?
Yes, with with my dog next to it because
Yep.
she loves my art.
Wow,
Dogs
that
love
is cool.
art. They love art.
Dogs. That is awesome. There's too many of these to get. I'll be here all day doing
there's
these,
loads,
but these
there's
are
loads,
these are
but
brilliant.
They're yours anyways.
You're giving me these?
Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome.
There is some more, I think. Oh.
Gonna have to like put these around some of these around the studio. The best ones are around the studio. Oh, that's good. Predator. Look at this on the camera.
Oh, there's a good one for you to get you struck off YouTube. Human Centipede.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, let's definitely not do that. Wow.
Yeah, there's some more.
These are amazing.
But sometimes I'll do memes as well. So
Of course.
I don't know if you've seen this guy. I'm holding up a print that I've done of the guy that says Jesus Christ. Have you ever heard of him?
No,
I
don't
should
think
be
so.
able to say Jesus Christ and you would know who he is. He's basically
I've heard of Jesus Christ. Yes, I'm aware of his work.
He's basically an ex-convict who's really into God, and he's got a few viral videos out where he screams, "Jesus Christ," and then he like does this little body popping thing to
Right.
some music, and that's it. That's simply it. But he's amazing. I just needed to tell you about him. I've got to spread the word of Jesus Christ.
These are brilliant.
Okay. But yeah, so with most of my work, it is irreverent stuff. That,
yeah. See, all this stuff gives you loads of options.
Oh, yeah, well,
You're never gonna end up going down like repeating yourself, basically.
No, the way I
Unless
see it
someone
is
asks you to.
I can do whatever anyone can think of, and usually if they've got an idea, I'll normally take a bit of a liberty and make it even weirder, because that's just what I'm like. But I did. I was requested by my now wife to do Harry Potter one, so I had to do that.
Oh, my missus absolutely loves Harry Potter, so
I had to do the whole film set.
Sounds great.
So they're in my living room, all up and framed. Big Hazza P.
yeah.
Shout out to Hazza P.
Tech, before we go, don't let me let go without putting these all on the table. I'm going to take a photo.
I'll forget.
So we'll both forget. We're fucking useless.
Oh. But
That is incredible. Thank you very much.
no worries. But yeah, so yeah, like you say, I can do anyone that's an artist can do it, but it just depends like how you see what you can do and whether you can marry those two things, what's in your head, to what you're doing on either the piece of paper or the screen or whatever.
On average, how long would one of them take?
Those ones just a couple of hours to do, really. It all depends on the shading and what kind of scene I want to do, because obviously I'll do the text and then I'll do the front bit, which will be a scene. So it's basically the name of the film behind, and then in front would be a scene. Picking a scene from a film is really annoying because there's especially when you love the film, there's so many good moments.
Yeah.
You kind of have to think outside the box. If I want something,
Get to the chopper!
you could do that moment. But then that's such a good moment though that I would not do it, because if there's another artist that's
It's
doing
probably
film
done.
stuff, they may do it. So that's why I chose some
It's a fine
weird-
balance, isn't it? Like you could also do like
I usually
like
choose
a
death
comedian.
scenes.
If a comedian has a funny a punch comes up with a punchline, or like you could have done. You know, like 'cause I've noticed online sometimes websites pop up in the middle of nowhere, advertised, selling T-shirts of things that are current now.
Yes.
Like they're trying to cash in on whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like you could have been the first to have if this was 20 years ago, you could have had garlic bread on a T-shirt. You know what I mean? That's that sort of level. Of
That
thing.
would have been perfect.
Because
might
certain
just do that
comedians,
anyways.
yeah, you could do.
I think enough people know that.
Yeah, because there's certain comedians that are at a certain level where they have certain jokes that just don't go
Just
away.
one-liners that
Like
that
people actually,
Blue
20 years
Cheese
later,
thing.
are actually asking them to tell a joke that they've probably heard 1,000 times.
And as you know from listening to the podcast, most comedians hate that.
Yeah, that's the last thing they want to do. Like it's like a band when someone shouts out maybe an old song that they don't play anymore.
Yes.
They shout out
It's
jokes.
exactly like that.
But comedy and music opposite. Like everyone wants to hear the same songs. I want to hear this song. I want to hear. But like, if you went to a comedy show, I want to hear this joke. I want to hear this joke. That's not going to happen.
It obviously depends on the comedian, but yeah, you're right. There is like we've mentioned Bert Kriescher before, and he's got that Russia story.
Yeah, the machine
The
story.
machine story.
Yeah,
He always closes with that most of the time.
yeah, and rightly
because
so.
because it went that far, and it's a smart way of doing it. That's why he's doing it, because he's intelligent.
At the end,
and he knows that's a story that's going to kill. And also, it's part of his brand now.
Yeah, it's like when Lee Evans used to do Bohemian Rhapsody. Have you seen the performance thing he did to Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. Like, he just did that as a sort of experiment, I don't know.
I didn't even know that he could sing.
No, he's a brilliant musician. All the music you've ever heard for anything he's ever done, he's done it all himself. It's
so weird that people that you know for one thing have talents in other things. It's weird. It's like seeing a teacher at the shops. on it, like, oh, they've got a life. Oh my god, it's like an extra hidden talent or something.
Most people do. This is what we're going back to about people not following like a passion, or they just do their job. They sort of this other stuff gets suppressed by, like, I don't know, a missus telling you, don't stop wasting your time with that bollocks.
What are you drawing on the box?
Just stick to going to the job that you hate and paying the bills. Just be miserable. Go on.
Go to work and stop sitting in that bath drawing pictures of your own penis, please.
This podcast.
I think it was on the episode. One of the first things you said was, "Thanks for having me. I'm a bit hungover."
I feel like we did it on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, of course I was hungover.
Most days, we usually record on a Sunday.
Of course I was hungover, but this is a school night, so we're all very well behaved.
Yeah, all weeknights are school nights now, I suppose, because you used to get a lie in.
Well, that's it.
So you're here basically because you've had a pay rise.
Hey, BBC budget. I mean, there's not much money spare, but yeah. So that's why we're catching up, because I have.
You were afternoon.
I was on
now
the
you're
afternoon.
mid-morning.
That's right.
So what's the time slot now?
So I used to be afternoons. Now I'm on air 2. That's the afternoon.
No,
I have to.
You were 2 till 5.
That's
I remember
exactly
that.
what I keep saying that. And I say it on air. I'm on now 9 till 12.
9 till 12,
which is the mid-morning program.
Yeah, but saying the old time, it's a hard habit to break.
And saying,
You
good
said
afternoon.
3 years last time, so it must have been 5 years you did that then, almost.
5 and a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been on that for quite a wee while. So this is the aim is to sort of move a wee bit up the schedule. So this is a promotion, I think. Mid-morning program. It's a good slot. It means I do have to get up earlier. So yeah,
the next one up is is that the breakfast, the main show?
The breakfast show is the big one.
Yeah.
Well, the rule of radio is the breakfast show is kind of where everyone aims to be. Peak listenership is on breakfast.
Yeah, of course. School runs and all that.
But mid-morning is where I wanted to be. I've always wanted to do the mid-morning show. So it's
not too early.
It's not too early. It's taken a bit of getting used to getting up and, going to bed early, no more partying and all my wild rock and roll parties.
Yeah, that's all behind you now.
That's all done. So I've got to go to
who
bed.
have you replaced? Who was doing it?
So there was Kevin Fernio.
Ah, right. So what have you done with him?
He finally succumbed to
in a basement somewhere.
He is doing very well. No, he's like a shamed politician. He's sort of gone to spend more time with his family.
Oh, okay.
But for nice reasons, which is lovely. And he
must do that for a while, didn't he?
He sure did, yeah. He was there for a while. He is from Stoke. He's not Cumbrian, so he's gone back home. So
right.
But a very loved presenter, so always difficult to make that move as sort of seamless as possible. But people don't like change.
No, they don't.
Initially, people don't like change. Remember when Teddy Wogan said he was leaving?
Oh, yeah.
Just uproar. He was a phenomenon. But people are fickle as well. If people then liked Chris Evans, he did incredibly well.
Yeah, but some forget though, don't they?
Yeah. So, but still, it's difficult. I understand that. I respect that.
Oh yeah. If you're replacing someone like a stalwart almost who's been there for years and everyone loves them and got a huge fan base.
Absolutely.
Who's this new person?
Yeah.
I remember the last time you were saying one of your first. Was it your first job in they used to do the midnight one or the in the middle of the night show was your first one, was it?
Oh, yeah.
And one of the first complaints you got was, get this jock off the radio.
That's right. Yeah, thanks, Mum. So, that's right. I did also the Up with the Partridge very early morning show at 5 a.m, and that was the first phone call I got. Yeah, I was terribly excited. So the phones light up, and I thought, oh, yeah. Interactive. It was abuse. So yeah, Kevin was much loved, and I really respect him. So, and I respect how liked he was by listeners. So you have to sort of be clever about that and respectful. But they have hopefully know me from the afternoon show.
Well, you've been there long enough now, surely.
Been there long enough, but very different style presenter. We are different, and so that's always difficult. But I'm absolutely, honestly, over the moon.
When was your first day?
About a month ago.
Okay.
Well, maybe end of April. And it was, Kevin did the Friday and I did the Monday.
How long in advance did you know?
a week.
Oh, right. So it was fairly quick.
It was quick, and I had to interview. I didn't just get it. I had to do it. I had to interview and I had to do a demo. So it wasn't just handed, I think in the old...
Weird. Demo is like, just listen to my shows.
Yeah.
Surely, it's my demo.
It's slightly different, because it's more a newsy programme. And,
true, yeah.
And I think, maybe in the old days of the BBC, I'm sure they just went to the pub and went, hey, do you want to do the breakfast show?
Yeah.
It's different now.
They're not allowed to do that now anymore.
No, so it was very, it was a fair process and there was lots of candidates and it was tricky, but I am honestly over the moon. It is my dream slot.
Was there any other presenters who went for it, Or,
yeah.
And was there just people from outside went for it as well? Was
yes.
it open?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Well done.
And I managed to kill them all off.
Because that's a pretty coveted slot, the mid-morning.
It's a biggie. Honestly, it's where I've always wanted to be. 9 till 12. I hate getting up in the morning. I absolutely hate it. But once I'm there, I love it. And yeah, it's a joy. It's
like
an
school
joy.
time again, isn't it? Got to be in for school for 9.
Isn't it? But you do know that I don't just work 3 hours a day.
Yes, we talked about this last time.
I do.
I'm well aware of all the prep and all the stuff that goes into doing a radio show. You don't just show up and hit, let's go live, and then that's it.
Show and go, they call it. Show and go. What do I look like, Chris Evans? No, I have to do a whole day's work.
I've got 2 pages of notes here on you. And I do that on most guests. I spend ages.
You do work, exactly. It's, yeah.
Then there's the editing, then there's the promotion, all the social media. It's not just sit down, hit record.
Yeah, a lot of work goes into making.
But you
it
were
look
saying your
unprepared.
friends didn't appreciate that. They were just like, you do 3 hours a day? Call that a job?
They love that. They absolutely love that.
But now they must be taken a bit more seriously. Mid-morning.
Yeah. I mean, yes, definitely a bit more pressure, and I have to be more responsible. We're dealing with news issues, often MPs, and legal issues. So it's
what are the main differences between the afternoon and the mid-morning then?
So between 9 and 10, we will do sort of a talking point, and that'll be topical discussion, getting people involved.
Just like whatever's in the papers and
Whatever
stuff.
in the papers. But, yesterday, it's... did you know, gentlemen, that it is Breastfeeding Awareness Week this week?
No.
Of course.
And I'm well aware of breastfeeding.
Well, it should be in your diary. So, yeah, yesterday that was our main topic. We spoke about breastfeeding, and then Boris Johnson. Interesting segue to make there, just to clarify 2 different topics.
He is a tit, I suppose.
Oh, man.
That's your opinion. I couldn't possibly say.
Of course, it's my opinion. This is my show.
That's just to clarify. So a little bit of variety. It was more music based in the afternoons, and this is a bit more newsy. Lots of live guests in the studio. We do the Friday panel, which you must come on at some point. Mark.
Absolutely.
I think you really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And we talk about the week in review, the big stories of the week.
Yeah, I'll be up for that.
And we do a wonderful piece. It's a privilege to do this. I do a thing called Life Stories, where I'll get a guest in. We'll do their life story, and you play it out throughout the week. And that has been a privilege. Some incredible Cumbrians telling their life story, and people will. It's amazing what people tell you when you get in front of microphones. As you know, people are very open.
I find a lot of it is to talk less and just let them talk. Yeah. Even sometimes when they finish a sentence or a thought, if you don't say anything, it kind of provokes them to carry on. They just kind of open up more. I find.
That is so true. You'll get a little extra. Always leave a little bit of a gap. You're right.
Yeah.
And because they've not finished, you don't want to
cut them off, or because sometimes they're still thinking.
Absolutely.
But if you start talking, then it goes out of their mind.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. It depends on the guest as well, because sometimes you feel. It depends how confident you feel they are about. Because sometimes I imagine people would have a great story, but they're not used to doing stuff like live on the radio or something like that. It might affect them a bit.
Yeah. No, definitely. And everyone's different. So, when you put a microphone in front of someone, they can close up or they can open up. Yeah. And you've just got to gauge that.
Even the ones who close up, I find, as long as you just persevere, they open up eventually.
Yeah, you got to warm them
Relax
up.
Them.
Yeah, you got to warm up. I've had some quite frosty guests before, or some frosty celebrities, and you got to work your magic a little bit. And but everyone's been amazing, and that's been quite powerful radio. So that's been lovely to do that.
So did they sort of say what they wanted you to do show wise? Have you been given reins to do some of your own stuff, or have you just been kept on the tradition of what the show already was? Or?
Yeah. Well, I think initially, as I was saying, change is a big thing. Certainly in local radio, so you want to gauge that right. And Kevin was very loved, so we're I'm calling it sort of like a soft Brexit. So taking it easy. I'm like Life Stories was an older feature. We've been doing that feature for years. So I was that's not.
Oh,
my
you're doing
feature.
it on that show. They were already doing it on that
yes,
show. Oh,
that is an old feature. It's much loved.
It's a good one. No need to get rid of it.
Absolutely, and I'll do it differently.
Yeah, of course.
That's the thing. So it's kind
You
of
sort of breathe new life into it.
yeah. It's nice to do that my way. So that's great. But yes, no, I do. I have got some creative liberties. I've added a poet. We have a poetry corner on Friday. I found a local poet. He's fantastic. You should have him on the show. He's very good. And that's new. So we end the week with the poem.
Where did that idea come from?
I like poetry. So yeah,
it's your show. God damn it, I'm going to have poetry.
It's maybe a little self-indulgent, actually. Yeah, but I thought if we are dealing with the big news stories, so how wonderful to just breathe and enjoy the words and the poet. Yes, he's called James Scott Riddick, and he's very good.
So how are you?
Spatria.
A spatria, that is a bit. That's in the middle of nowhere.
Things.
And you've still never sweared on air?
Never!
Wow, it's amazing.
Did I say that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I'd never sworn.
No, you said you'd done pretty well.
Yeah.
You didn't categorically say I've never sworn on air, but you said you're pretty sure you
I think a listener, someone came on the show and swore, didn't they?
Yes, yeah, and you had your outside broadcast, so
Yeah.
I'm going to get assholed.
I can't believe
Do you remember that?
No, but
I think it was your first ever outdoor broadcast. I'll let you tell the story.
It was at Whitehaven Festival.
Before all this, your full backstory is on the previous time you were here. So anyone who's interested should go back and listen to it.
Yeah, we should.
I mean, how you ended up here, your whole history. It's all on the previous. I think it's episode 19. I think it is. So,
right, so
go back and listen to it. Press pause. Go back and listen to it, and then jump back in. Right, welcome back.
Welcome back. Actually, let's hope you enjoyed that. Fast forward. Yeah, yes. Uni and hospital radio. And so yes, we're just starting now.
Spread that up.
We're just starting at the mid-morning.
Yeah.
But no, first ever outside broadcast, the Whitehaven Festival. And it was bonkers because Ainsley Harriott was there and Anton Dubek.
Oh, this was the other thing we were doing last episode, dropping clangs every time she mentioned a name.
Oh, yeah.
dropping names.
Oh, there's a few more. I can drop a few more names. I can drop down. And we just thought, let's ask a lovely person from Whitehaven how they're doing. And yeah, this sweet butter wouldn't melt. Old lady, oldish woman. And I remember because she was in like a lemon cardigan. I was like, oh, how you doing? Yeah, how you having a nice time at Whitehaven? Oh, it's lovely, yes. We're going to see the Bay City Rollers later. Oh, great. And then what? Then we're going to get absolutely arseholed. And I was like, I've never heard that term used to mean drunk.
Even if she said like shit-faced or...
That's more normal.
Or you could say hammered or...
Hammered,
Oh, Michael McIntyre's one. Fucking pajamaed.
Utterly
Utterly gazeboed.
Utterly gazeboed. You can use any term now. And she picked that. And she was loving it. She was laughing. She knew she'd done it.
Mischievous grin on her face.
Cheeky little thing. Absolute. The original prankster.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was... no, I've been very good. I swear quite a lot off air, anyone will tell you. But I think that's why I'm not... I say naughty word. Potty mouth out of the radio, and then I'm very good at it.
I don't mind swearing. I like it when someone F's and blinds every other sentence and every word, but I think it was invented for a reason. It has its purposes.
It sounds good in the Scottish accent.
Yeah, it does.
I think it does, yeah. But no, I'm good. I won't swear because my mother would be very upset. She did not bring me up like that. But no, I'm very good on air. No more awful clangers, I don't think. I've been quite lucky. Do you
ever have mornings when your brain just hasn't switched on properly, or...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can't say a word or a sentence yet. Why can't I say that?
Yeah.
See, in the morning, I always think you're going to get that more often because you've not been up long.
But 9, yeah, it's early, so like today I have to say benevolent.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I struggled.
But while the song's playing, benevolent.
I was practicing it. Yeah, benevolent was hard. I did stumble that, and
have you got any known words that you just struggle to pronounce?
I struggle with like Worcestershire.
I think a lot.
I struggle with spelling it, not saying it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no! It's some of those words. How is that pronounced? Considering the way it's spelled.
Is it Worcester or Worcestershire?
Have you seen
Worcestershire.
Have you seen the
I think it's
Italian
both.
American guy trying to pronounce Worcestershire sauce?
I've heard about this, but I've not seen it.
Yeah,
so you don't tell them how it's pronounced. You just tell them the spelling, and then Americans have to sort of what do you think this word is? Like, I love to pronounce Loughborough.
Oh my goodness. I mean, even Edinburgh, Bruff by Sands.
Yeah.
Give them Trepenna.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine?
So that's spelt Trepenor,
It's
is it?
spelled like Torpenhow.
Torpenhow, that's it, yeah.
But do never, that is Trepenna, yeah.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing. If
Yeah.
you've never heard it,
No.
how do they end up different, how they're spelled?
No, I wouldn't want to learn English.
Like we've got round here, broom. It's
Broom.
pronounced broom, but it's spelled Brougham.
Yeah.
How is that pronounced broom?
Yeah.
How? Braugham.
As a Braugham.
Or Brougham, at least.
Brugaham.
Yeah.
I thought it was Bruffham.
Brougham. Oh, yeah, because we have a place called Brough, Brough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did GH become an F?
I know. Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Americans do say that.
Did you used to pronounce it that way a long time ago? Did you used to say knife and knee?
Yeah. Knight.
Yeah.
Knight in shining armour. Yeah.
Knift. Yeah, surely it would be Nift.
Kniff,
If it's GH.
I mean, imagine trying to teach there, and there.
A lot. You see, as you see, a lot online. A lot of people still don't get that.
I mean, don't get us started on that.
But you don't want to be that person who picks them up on it.
No, I don't like to be a grammar pedant, but I do pride myself in being okay. But like today, yes, now and then on the radio, you can't. Your syntax is all over the shop, and I'm saying
I don't do any of the. I don't abbreviate any text, typed or text message or messenger or anything.
the Queen's
I
English.
type proper everything because I just think it's lazy, and I was getting really bad at it in my late
Yeah.
teens, when phones were like coming. You know, those buttons on the old texting where you had to press a button 3 times to get to either
Yes.
the B or the C. It wasn't a keyboard.
These
It
on
was
your
like,
big Nokias.
yeah,
when you can
with
play
one
Snake.
thumb you were like.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god, I used to type really fast. A really primitive system.
Oh, I miss those phones. Snake.
Snake, yeah. They just pretty much did phone calls and texts, and that was it.
One message received, and it was all that on you. So exciting. I topped up £5. Topped up £5. That would last me a month.
Oh, that was one of the first things I did when I got a job was get off pay as you go. I used to hate having to top it up.
Oh, really?
I used to do my head in.
I think my dad still does.
Some people still do, if it works. Some people don't use it a lot, though, so they just top it up, and it lasts them for ages.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough.
I think it's, yeah, he's on the same.
What a good radio voice you have.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all right. Some people like
Has
it.
your Scottish accent changed since you arrived in this land?
My mother thinks so. She thinks I've got some sort of Cumbrianisms.
You've kind of toned it down a bit, do you think?
Do you think? Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you did it. Maybe it would have happened naturally anyway, because on the radio you're probably a bit more conscious of it.
I think we all put voices on. I try and be as authentic as possible, and I was told to always be natural.
Yeah.
And say
You are Scottish, so be Scottish.
Yeah.
But don't be too Scottish.
like if I came on, okay, the news. All right, how's it going?
Oh, it's like that. Is it? It's like that.
Yeah, very aggressive. Yeah, no, I am Scottish. I think I've Cumbrianisms. Like I'll go back to Aberdeen and I'll be like, "Oh, Mum, will you stop twining?" And she's, "Pardon?" and my mother is very posh. And so yeah,
Posh
but,
as in she's not Scottish.
she's posh Scottish. Now that, you know that's a thing.
Oh, yes.
So that tends to be sort of Edinburgh. Oh, that's right, very sort of posh. That kind of
Yes.
so Miss Jean Brodie. So she's not there. She's she's got sort of posh Scottish. Aberdonians have got weird accents, and then my dad, he's more farming community.
Right.
So I've got a funny mix of farming and posh.
You're right down the middle, I think.
That's why I sound a bit like Lorraine.
I think
Kelly.
it's probably your job has probably made that happen organically as its time's gone on anyway, I think.
Yeah, maybe
A little bit.
I always do silly voices, and my boss has told me to not do those. I like doing voices.
What's wrong with voices?
I think I'm good at them, but
I think I'm funny.
other people, as long as you make yourself laugh, that's all.
Yeah, of course, everyone else can
I've
do what they want.
Tone it down a little bit because my real voice is that. This is it. Yeah, it's
My real voice.
my real voice, but I'm always doing.
My
something.
real voice.
I can definitely go more Scottish and more posh.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't. Like I said, the good
should
advice
just
I
be
got
you.
was just be.
Yeah, we've talked about this with other guests where a lot of especially on mainstream, nobody talks like that. Nobody talks like
Yeah.
that. Where it's like, hello, welcome to the evening news.
That was quite a good Teddy Morgan.
No one's going home having, hello, darling, what's for tea?
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
That is very,
I don't
very
know where
true.
that's come from.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I say, hello, you're listening to Radio Cumbria, rather than,
Yeah, I would rather have someone talk to me
a very good
just
morning.
normal.
Yeah.
Or the news on the news and the weather, the way they go up and down and all over the place. It's like, just talk to me. Tell me what the weather's gonna be like.
Yeah.
Doesn't really make any difference how you deliver it.
Your visibility on the fells today, it's going to be a little bit dry and a wee bit. Yeah, I know. It's hard not
And
to.
finally tonight.
I think it's difficult not to do sport in a voice.
Yeah.
The football's commentators always,
feel
they've
like-
got a voice.
Yeah, they have. I suppose sport's a bit different. I suppose, but if you're hosting or you're talking to someone, it should be like a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it used to be RP on the BBC. It was all, good evening, this is the 10 o'clock news.
Yeah.
You're listening to it.
And you never heard accents either back then.
No.
No accents.
But now they love a regional accent, and we're seeing more diversity, which again I think is good.
I've never turned on Radio BBC. I don't know if is it BBC Radio Scotland.
BBC Scotland, yeah.
I've never turned it on and there's not been someone Scottish on. I don't think I've ever heard anyone not Scottish on there.
It is
it's like
very
in the
Scottish.
contract. You have to be Scottish.
It is very Scottish there. Yeah, I did a little bit of work with them actually.
Oh, did you?
And it's a really fab place to work. BBC
Where are they
Scotland's
based?
great. Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Yeah, on the Clyde. And it's
Ah.
a lovely place to work, and they do quite a few TV shows. Mrs. Brown's Boys is actually filmed there, even though that's Irish.
Ah, yeah.
They filmed there. Two Doors Down, Still Game, which is done quite well.
Yeah.
It's translated here, really. People like it here. So, yeah, but it is quite Scottish, yeah. So they kind of stuck with that. Whereas Cumbria were quite near the border. I think they were kind enough to take a chance on a Scottish presenter, even though I'm not Cumbrian. But we've got a variety of different voices on the station,
I don't think it matters that much. I think it's just the quality of your presenting and the quality of the show.
I hope, yes. But with we do cover Cumbrian stories. It has a Cumbrian slant, lots of Cumbrian guests, and it's that local element which is unique to us,
Yeah.
which is very important, yeah. And
Cumbria is a big area to cover. There's a lot going on.
Definitely, and we've got a lot of Scottish listeners, which is cool, but yeah,
Because we're sort of connected, aren't we?
You're right, it's a huge patch, that's really important.
We're not far away.
No, we're not far, but we've got to cover, you're right, like rural Cumbria, and then, it is a huge
You
area.
just cover. Does BBC Radio Cumbria go like Southern Scotland as well?
You can get us there, yeah. I've got like a few listeners in Hawick and that kind of place.
That's another one. How is Hawick spelt?
Hawick.
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 How is that spelled? How is that pronounced? Hawick. If I used to think before it's written down, it was like Hoick, Hawick or something like that. Not that way.
Hawick, it sounds like you're clearing your throat.
I suppose it does.
Yeah, Hawick.
But-
Yeah. So that's, so you're right, we've got to appeal to, Barrow and Spatria and Millom and then Egremont and Kendal. It's a huge patch. And that's a real honour. I love doing that because I love how different it is.
Is the demographic any different from the afternoon show to the mid-morning show at all?
Yeah, definitely. Let me think. So we've not really got school run. That's a wee bit earlier. But yeah, no, it is different. A few of my listeners have come along, which is really nice.
That's good,
But
yeah.
others said, oh, well, we'll miss you in the afternoons because I can't listen in the morning. Or, and then I've got new listeners on the morning show, and my oldies have stayed on the afternoon, which is great.
And then the rest of them you have yet to convert, which I'm sure you will.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. Yeah. If I can seduce them from Ken and Bruce. Come
But
here.
who are all these people who they'll complain, but you might still get someone like a year's time, but why are you listening then? You're still listening just to complain.
I think some people do like that, don't they? They like to be a bit offended. They like to complain, and that's fine. I'll take the listening figures. That's fine. But no, it's a real dream come true to do mid-morning, honestly. Breakfast is too early. This is the dream gig. I've got the dream slot. It's wonderful.
For you, it's just right.
Oh, I love it. And I've still got a bit of music, because I do miss the music a bit. And
Is it less music, more conversation?
It is, yeah, it is, but still a fair bit of music, and again, I get a bit of choice in that. But I'm glad. I couldn't do without music.
Well, as we spoke about off-air, I haven't listened to your show because it's not on DAB.
Rude. It's not on DAB.
No.
DAB, this is huge. I know.
In my
Controversial.
car, it has DAB, but it's far too much effort to sort out the FM. It's not.
This is a very controversial topic, Mark. So thank you for bringing this up. We have canvassed and campaigned to get local radio on DAB, on DAB.
I'm only bringing it up because I want them to be on DAB.
Thank you. No,
I think
me
they
too.
deserve to be.
Me too. It would do so much for our listening figures. It's hard to compete.
It's going, the tip of the listenership is going digital.
Absolutely.
Like I say, my car was just built in digital.
People are listening. I mean, yeah. No,
DAB radios, Alexas, all the smart speakers, they're all digital. They don't do FM radio.
we're getting on Alexas. and all that.
Okay,
That's
through tuning
happening.
and all that,
I
is
think
it?
so, yeah.
Well, that's a start. That's
So
a
you
good
can go
idea.
play BBC Radio Cumbria, and that'll do it in people's houses now.
Yeah, we'll
Put Caroline Robertson on. She's the best. Yeah, so we're
I'm
working
sure it'll
on
happen,
it.
surely.
I think we're, you know what, they're fighting for it.
I've heard. I know it can be. I think it's expensive to do it. There's a
Incredibly.
cost involved, but it's a bit like when we went from analog to digital TV. At some point, there has to be a tipping point where you're going to have to go that way anyway. I think.
But you're absolutely right. There's always a cost to these things. Why is it not happening? That's why. And
Because it's all the quality of it as well. It's so much crisper and clearer, and you don't lose signal when you go through town and all that stuff.
Going Kirkstone Pass, you lose us. That's insane. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
We need those listeners. We rely on them. We love
Even
them.
just driving around certain part of the lakes. When I drive a lot, and it comes and goes.
Yeah. If your local radio station's dropping out, you're going to switch over. I appreciate that. And we need to get on as soon as possible. It's honestly the bane of our lives. I would love it. We really working hard on it, and it would make a huge difference. But yeah, we got to move with the times, and I think local radio is turning a corner in that respect.
Yeah.
We still, without alienating our listeners, we love our listenership and our target. But you got to get on the podcast like you. We got to get on the social media, which we're doing. And Dad would just be a big step for us.
They should have podcasts as well.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Because I was on Helen Milliken's show
Oh, brilliant! Which night?
back end of last year when they had the Friday showcase. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Yes,
Can't remember if they do.
yes. So
That was good. Just talking about the show, about the podcast.
brilliant.
It was really good. Because we had Miraculous Cumbria, those two. Jane Postlethwaite.
Yes.
You know her, don't you?
Funny comedian.
Her do their podcast. They came on here, and then they went on Radio Cumbria with Helen Milliken, and then they suggested me to her, so then she had me on as well. So
How fantastic! I
it all
love
worked out.
that podcast
Yeah.
family, and everyone supporting each other. How nice.
But I was saying to her that like certain shows, especially more conversational ones, people that would make a perfect podcast just to cut out the conversation bits, put them together, half an hour or an hour. Just most shows do that these days. It's a great way to, because I don't listen to most radio stations, but if certain shows have a podcast, I'll definitely download that and I'll listen to it. Like
Yeah.
Jason Manford, he's on Absolute Radio on Sunday mornings from, I think it's like 8 till 11, I think it is. I never listen to it live, but they put a podcast out of it. I download that later that day.
And it's
to it
the
on Monday.
best bits.
It's the best bits.
I'd
It's
like
funny.
to do a best bits. Don't know how
I
long
think
it would
so.
be, but I'd like to do the best bits.
You could even just do one a week, best of the week.
If there's enough material, yeah.
Surely. You play less music now anyway, so it makes sense.
No, that'd be. I mean, just some of the guests I've had on. I was going to drop a name.
Clang.
I had Alistair Campbell on a couple of weeks ago, and so it'd be good to some of the big names and then some of the local stories. Yeah, like the breastfeeding bit was great this week. I was really proud of that.
So was that a bit of the breastfeeding thing? Was that getting opinions from both ends?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So again, it was very balanced. I think that was really important. So
What's your opinion on that?
on breastfeeding? Well, I'm not a mum.
No,
So I always.
I'm not a parent either.
No, so I always kind of keep my beak out of these things when I'm not. But I think every woman is different and has to be treated individually. So, we know that there's great stuff in breast milk. It's good, fantastic, but not everyone can do it. And people text in, and I said, please, let me know your experiences. And people, text in and were really honest.
So that was I was wondering if the debate was like breastfeeding in public.
Yes. Well, this was more about breastfeed. Is breast best? They always say that breast is best. So we had that, but I did ask that. I said, because we had a new mum in the studio. She was brilliant, and I said, "Have you felt any awkwardness?" And she said, "Yeah, a little bit." And you're very discreet, and there's all these amazing bras you can click off.
Attachments and compartments.
Amazing.
The kid's already in it.
She said it's pretty cool now, but. It's other people. It's most businesses are very breastfeeding friendly, of course.
But you get some people like vehemently against it in public.
I know, yeah.
But I was on the opinion like, what would you rather? A screaming kid go rah, and then as soon as you pop it on, silence. I'm like, I vote for silence every time.
It's very natural. What an absurd thing to be upset about. Yeah, it's very weird to.
People like to get upset about things.
People do.
Like to have a good moan.
Yeah.
It's a very British thing, isn't it?
It's very British, Timo. But no, of course, I'm all for breastfeeding in public. Anywhere.